Okie dokie. I am trying something I haven't tried in a while, and I am moderately nervous because I haven't tried it in a while, and hopefully it works the way it's supposed to. Today, if there is no background noise, hopefully, and if you're listening in on the conference call, please let me know if there is any echo, background noise, or other degrees of moderate audio annoyance, because we are going live. The Monday call today, next week, Monday, and the Monday after that will be broadcast live across social media and eventually find its way over to YouTube. Why is that? Well, I've come to the realization over the course of time that a lot of the foundational things that we do at our agency, at Loyal, are absolutely what people need that want to succeed in our business. The concepts, the carriers, the products, the ideas, all of it is right there for the taking. But as the industry has evolved, in many cases, I haven't really broadened my perspective, broadened my beliefs, or opened up my mind to other ways to be able to do what we do. Not do what we do, but kind of stay current with what's going on. What does that really mean? Well, I think the concept of the morning call that we have done and have adapted for years is always going to work. I think the idea of getting everybody together at a particular time, most of the business days out of the year, is how most successful businesses and operations exist. It's just normal. And what do? We do the same thing. We get together, we go over a training topic, we go over some news and updates in the industry, or some contests that we're having, or money we're giving away. Oftentimes, Tuesday through Friday, we get to hear from somebody who sold a whole lot of something yesterday, and you get to hear about it today. And we get to hold ourselves self accountable for what we did the day before, calling out our production. And why do we do that? Well, because it's not fun to call out a zero. Nobody ever wants to, and that means someone's going to work a little harder not to. But what am I trying to say here? I'm trying to say here that I think the concept has always been tried true, but the medium in which it's conducted on might be a little bit old school. And I've been playing with the idea and I've been thinking about the idea, and I have been speculating that maybe why we aren't getting more people into a concept that always makes us better is the medium itself. So, what am I going to do? Over the course of this Monday, next Monday, and the Monday after that, we're going to broadcast our trainings live. Now, it isn't going to be 60, 90 minutes in some oblong webinar where you sit there bored and wondering, when am I going to get to go sell things? It's going to be the same time, going to be the same length of time. And we're going to have a special co-host, one of our own, will be joining me at around 9:15 on camera to be able to share his thoughts on our three-part theme this Monday, you got it, next Monday, and the Monday after that. Now, if you're watching and you're listening at some point now, later, or years from now, and you're saying to yourself, what is this phone call option? Well, reach out in the comment section below and I'll send you that phone number, because one of the things that's also really helpful is that you can listen in while you're on the road, while you probably shouldn't be watching on the road as well. So let's get back on script. Let's get into today's conversation. Good morning. Welcome into none other than December the 1st, 2025. And I don't know about you, but there are a few things that I enjoy more schedule wise than when the first of the month is on the first business day of the month, which is on a Monday. Sounds redundant, but it's really important to me, especially on a month like this where you've got a bunch of holidays mixed in. Getting started on the first, getting started on that Monday, and getting everything out and working. So here's the thing though. Now is the time to be working. I know that sounds silly, but there are plenty of people in the industry right now who will find some sort of a reason why today they aren't doing anything. Maybe it's like a Thanksgiving hangover times the fifth day in a row. Maybe it's an oil change. Maybe it's a tire rotation. Maybe it's a other appointment that's going to get in the way of getting out into the field or picking up the phone. But this month is going to go by very, very quickly. Look at the calendar right now. No, not right now, but like maybe a little bit later on, or a second device or somewhere nearby. There are 17 business days this month, not counting Christmas Eve. Spend that time with someone important to you. Not counting Christmas. Give the insurance industry a break that day. Not even counting the final last week of the year. Now, if you choose to work the final last week of the year, so be it. That's okay. No judgment, no shame. That's okay. But if you're able to take it off, it's a great time to be able to take it off, rest, reset, and we're going to get into that a little bit later in our three-part cycle. But look at it another way. I'm just kind of like making these calendar observations as I put together my notes yesterday. If you are looking, and I'm going to check my audio real quick just to make sure everyone can hear where they need to hear. Okay, perfect. Alrighty. If you're looking at the calendar right now and the 17 days that I'm talking about, and you're thinking to yourself, as you look at your bank account, oh man, I don't know how I'm going to be able to do this. I don't have PTO. I don't have, solid residuals and renewals. That's what someone's thinking right now, not, you know. Well, here's the thing. There are also 3 Saturdays prior to the holidays that you could also work. Look at it this way. If you are afraid to take off Christmas, Christmas Eve, or New Year's, that's okay. I get it. Go back out into the field or pick up the phone and put in the time necessary the first 3 Saturdays of the month. Nobody wants to work on a Saturday. I get it. But nobody wants to take Christmas Eve, Christmas, and New Year's, and instead of enjoying time with whoever's important to them, be sitting there stressed out about money. This is a simple, practical way to take a look at your calendar and say to yourself, I'm going to take these days, but I'm going to make up for these days on other days prior to that time. Now, if you're looking at the last week of the year and you're thinking to yourself, I'd like to be able to take that time with friends, family, or goal setting, or planning, or organizing, or whatever. Make sure that you are working these first 17 business days, potentially 20, as diligently and as focused as possible. Maybe it's kind of adjusting your approach to make sure you're drafting the first premium and you're getting paid quicker. 40% of our clients can pay with the application, but 0% will if you don't ask them. Make sure that over the course of the next 17 days, if necessary, take a look at some cash flow carriers. You know who pays you the quickest, and if you don't, ask. Maybe make sure in this final week of AEP, if you've forgotten how to sell things that cost money, you cross sell something. One of the most dangerous things about annual enrollment, and I've said this before, but I'm saying this to someone who's never heard it before, is that it's such a long period of time that if you don't do any cross selling and all you're doing is giving away things that don't cost money, this is what's going to happen. Number one, you're going to run out of money. Number two, you're going to forget how to sell. And no matter how much money deposits itself into your bank account come the middle of January, you're still going to be behind because your sales skills are going to suck and you'll have forgotten how to sell things that cost money. What am I saying here? I'm saying here in these final 17 business days of the month, or 20, however you look at it, be diligent and intentional with your preparation and action. Because now is the time to get back to work. There is plenty of time to get ready for next year at the end of the month. There is plenty of time to have gotten ready for today over the course of the weekend. Now is the time to take action and speak with a level of urgency with your potential clients that gives you the money that you need to make and the insurance that they need and they are asking for. We're not dealing with some kind of cold approach. We're not wandering around the Walmart. We're not setting up tables at fairs. I mean, nothing against the people that choose to do that, but we are working, as you are well aware, in lead-based marketing. Dispel all the myths that you have in your head and all the smoke screens that they throw in your face. They have requested the information and it is our obligation to deliver it. Now is the day to make that happen. So, what we're going to do next is have a quick conversation over the course of the next 21 minutes about delayed gratification. In just about 10 minutes, Dom is going to join me on camera if I have set everything up properly and the buttons that he clicks on opens up the webinar version of Zoom. Hopefully it does. And you will be able to hear him on Free Conference Call HD. That's going to be broadcast on all our normal ways like we always do. This is just a new opportunity to be able to take our message and bring it to a wider audience. But before we get to his conversation and his thoughts and our dialogue on delayed gratification, let's do a real basic practical observation and word definition of what we're really talking about. I know that's exciting, but we got to understand what we're really talking about because we use words so often and don't really always know what they mean. So, what does delayed gratification really mean? As defined by the dictionary, delayed gratification is this: it's the ability to resist an immediate reward in favor of a more valuable or significant one later. Hmm. The ability to resist an immediate reward in favor of a more valuable or significant one later. Okay. It also feels a lot like patience to me. Well, patience is never easy in an instant society, is it? Like we're all, nobody here is like that young that they don't remember when you'd have to wait a while to get something. You'd have to actually go somewhere to get something. You, TV shows were released like weekly and not all at once. Binge watching wasn't even a thing. If you said you were binge watching something, someone would think, "What's wrong with you?" back then. What does that mean? We live in an instant society where it almost runs headfirst into the idea of delayed gratification, the ability to resist an immediate reward in favor of a more valuable or significant one later. Where am I going with all this? Well, look at the month right now. You could easily say to yourself right now, screw it. I'm just not doing anything about anything until the first of the year or the second, maybe the third, probably not till the fifth. There are people right now practicing immediate gratification in our industry by not doing anything. The whole concept behind why I'm talking about delayed gratification right now is this, is that it's to delay the gratification of giving yourself time until the end of the month. Here's another way to look at it. Self-control is evidence in the definition of delayed gratification, isn't it? The ability to resist an immediate reward. That's tough too. At least I thought so when I wrote this down. Self control is so hard in a clickbait society and in a hot take world. Self control, like all the stuff that you see when you scroll, you're thinking to yourself, I gotta react, I gotta say something. You get a text message from somebody and it rubs you the wrong way, and you want to immediately say something right back to them. Self control is saying to yourself, take a minute, take a breath, compose your thoughts, and then say what you need to say. Think about it from a sales perspective. Have you ever gotten one of those phone calls that you know you shouldn't have answered, and this person on the other end of the phone is trying to say something silly about why they don't want their insurance anymore? Self control is not getting angry, giving them a moment to talk, giving them a moment to listen. I think somewhere in the insurance exam, they should have taught us customer service, not just, you know, cash value. Here's another way to look at it. Delay, the word delayed in itself is an action in the third definition of the word delayed. The word delayed, by the definition of the word, that was redundant, sorry, is to postpone or defer. I mean, nothing about the society and the world we live in right now makes you want to feel or postpone or defer much. And delayed gratification, again, runs headfirst in the idea of a one call close, but it's how we have to think about the business bigger than the sales interaction itself. Now, what does gratification mean? Well, there's probably a lot of different things that could mean, but on a business perspective, gratification is defined as the feeling of pleasure or satisfaction that comes from fulfilling a need or desire. The feeling of pleasure or satisfaction that comes from fulfilling a need or desire. Interesting, right? So I'm just checking to make sure if Dom doesn't message me and say the thing isn't working. He'll be with us in just a couple minutes if the thing is working correctly. But delayed gratification, the feeling of pleasure or satisfaction that comes from a fulfilled need or desire. Well, delay the gratification until the month and the year is complete. So I got another silly example for you about how delayed gratification runs headfirst into our daily lives. If you have one that comes to mind about delayed gratification and how you practiced it or how you didn't, here, I'm going to give you an idea. Share it in our agency Slack chat right now, what delayed gratification might mean to you, what you might have done to practice it in the past, or what you'd have done that now that you kind of think about it, you probably should have waited. Here's my example of delayed gratification. And if you're watching live, you're watching later, you're watching 10 years into the future, and you have a thought, you have something you'd like to share on delayed gratification, feel free to post it in the comment section below. Feel free to share it on whatever medium you're watching this on. Here's my silly example of delayed gratification I'd like to share with you. I wanted to get a computer monitor. Sounds strange, right? I want to get a computer monitor to go along with my MacBook Pro so that when I'm sitting at home, I can kind of put CRM up here and stuff front and center that I need to work on while working here and potentially looking at that there. I mean, I see all kinds of interesting computer displays and setups when I'm looking at shorts and videos online, and I wanted one too. So I've been looking on Amazon like everybody does, been looking on different places to buy it, but I didn't have a good perception of what that really was on my phone compared to what would look like on my desk. I took a picture of my desk. I didn't measure it. I know. So I drove to the Walmart yesterday. I saw one that looked good, purchased it, took it home, and didn't fit. My wife says to me, "Why didn't you measure it?" I said I took a picture of it. I didn't measure it. Obviously, this didn't work. But then I realized while it didn't fit, I still wanted one. I still wanted it to work. I still wanted the whole concept to take place, but it just wasn't working because that didn't fit. I looked on Amazon again and I saw a bunch of ones I could have ordered that moment that would have showed up before this call. Instant gratification, instantly a monitor at my front door. But here's the thing. All the ones that I looked at sucked. All the ones that I looked at had these terrible reviews. All the ones that I looked at that could be here right now, this instant, had that tag on it that said returned often, had names I had never heard of. It just didn't seem like it was going to work the way I wanted it to. So I decided to wait. I decided to that whenever I had the opportunity, and I don't know when that opportunity is going to be because life's busy, I was going to go back to the store, return the one that didn't fit, take the measurements that I now had, and get the correct one. Yes, it's a delay. Yes, I want it right now, but I don't want to get the wrong thing and that thing again repeat the cycle of having to return it. It didn't fit, didn't look good, didn't work. So I'm going to delay the gratification and get the correct thing overall. So I got one more for you in just a minute. But if there is an example of delayed gratification that comes to mind for you, share it in our agency Slack chat right now. Post it on social media wherever you catch this video and see if we can learn something from each other when it comes to delayed gratification. I'm going to give you another example. I remember a couple years ago, I was walking through the King of Prussia Mall, big mall, about an hour and 10 minutes from where I live. Like everything is there. There's a new Netflix house there. It's crazy. And I saw a bag in an Allen Edmonds store, I believe. This leather bag. It smelled like, you know what a good leather bag smells like. It was so nice, so good, and so expensive. I'm not boasting here. I'm saying, you can eventually treat yourself to nice things, but I'm looking at it. And this bag isn't going to make me money. This bag isn't going to all of a sudden change my sales skills or provide me leads or feed my family. It's just a thing that would be nice to have. This bag cost $700 when I bought it back then. Still good to this day. Probably going to be good for 30 years. But I looked at it and I said to myself, I do not need this. I don't ever need this. I want this. I'm going to delay the gratification of purchasing this and set a goal and say, if I can write this amount of business and make this amount of money in this amount of time, I'm going to take myself back to this store and then purchase the bag. So in the process of practicing delayed gratification, I also set up a small reward as a small reward for waiting. I think that makes a ton of sense. And guess what happened? I did it. I went through the goal. I laid out the numbers. I wrote the amount of production necessary, and then it took place. So my message to you over the course of this conversation is pretty simple. Delayed gratification is critical to looking at this month, at the amount of time we have available to us, the amount of goals the production that we need to write, and going forward. So I'm going to bring on our next speaker this morning. And if I've done everything correctly, he will be joining me live in just a moment. Hey Dom, I managed to push a button correctly and create a webinar. Look at me. I'm it's like 1995 in my world, or maybe at least 2020. Either way you look at it, I appreciate you being here. Say hi and let me know you can hear me. Go ahead one more time, Dom. We are waiting for him just to unmute himself on the Zoom so he could join us across both free conference
Can you hear
call
me?
and my computer. Hey Dom, can you hear me?
I can. I don't know if I can still be heard on free conference call. We're still trying
I'm
to
going
work
to
this.
unmute you over here on free conference call in just a minute. Alrighty. Say hi. Let me know I can hear you on my headphones on a free conference call as well.
Okay, can you hear me? Oh, hold on. There we go. Can you hear me?
Yep, loud and clear. Take it
All
away.
right. Okay. So I know today's topic we're talking about is the delayed gratification, and I was thinking about that when you messaged me yesterday. And this business is, for the most part, like delayed gratification. Somebody more than likely recruited you with promises of glory, promises of riches. um, I mean, just, they promised you the world, right? And they didn't tell you how much work came with that. In 90% of cases, I think that is the reason why most agents don't make it. That's just me personally. I think that they're not shown an equal ratio of possible success to required work, right? Possible success, but required work. You're required to do the work, and there may be a payoff. Um, the insurance test, right? You study for it. It's relatively easy to get licensed. And yes, some people pass on the first time and some people pass on later attempts. But we all have to pass that test. So first time, seventh time, nobody asks your insurance score when you're selling your insurance test score when you're selling them a policy. But what the test doesn't prepare you for is all the skills that you'll actually need to acquire a client, how to talk to a client, how to service a client, right? That's all your prior experience, right, that you bring into this industry. Or if you don't have any or don't have the related experience, you're gonna have to go get it. So again, you're coming in, you get this test score. You think this is a license to print money, and it is, but right, you have to delay the part that actually matters, which is most of us are not going to immediately walk into success from that. So that was just something I was thinking about yesterday. It's funny you were talking about computer screens because I just upgraded my computer about 2 or 3 months ago, and my computer was so slow it would just freeze. And I waited and I waited. My wife was like, "Why don't you buy a computer?" I was like, "It's not time yet." She was like, "Why don't you buy a computer?" I was like, "It's not time yet." So I like literally waited, and then I basically lost the sale earlier, like in September, and I was like, okay, you just lost a sale. That sale was at least $1,000 in premium. It just froze up so bad, and I was like, I gotta call you back. And then by the time I like got it all done, the lady ended up like being on the phone with another agent, and then ended up was like, I just went with them. And I was just like, okay, I think it might be time, right? Did I possibly delay gratification a little too long?
Maybe.
Probably. Which now that taught me the lesson. Yes, delaying gratification is important, but also, is this a want? Is this a need, right? And for us, do I need this for my business? Is this something that's going to contribute mightily? There's all type of programs we run across and all type of, oh, buy my course or buy my whatever it is, right? 1,000, 2,000. I've seen some pricey ones, 8, 10, 20,000, right? And it promises to solve this magical problem. But for most of us, if we're not at the level we want to be in this business, we can't afford to slap down two, three, four, $10,000, whatever it is. So you have to then make that decision. And I think that most of those things are more hype than actual substance. I think you have to make that decision. Okay, is this worth it? Right. I think you have to delay that until this money is not going to cause an issue in your personal finance. And also, I would extend that to your business finances. Right. You should get to a point where anything you want to invest in extra, again, delaying gratification, anything you want to invest in extra is something that won't interrupt what's already working in your business, not your direct mail, not your normal Facebook lead delivery. It shouldn't interrupt those things. So,
Dom, I wanted to talk a little bit in our final 6 minutes this morning about delayed gratification running headfirst into the idea or the concept of what we're doing in the sale. Because we can't allow Miss Johnson to delay the gratification of saying yes to the policy or
mhm,
picking a Medicare plan or whatever the product is that we're proposing to them.
mhm,
It's literally the opposite in that moment of how we need to practice a lot of our business.
Yeah.
remembering that by making a purchasing decision is an emotional thing that we do.
Mhm.
Sorry, I was muted. Making a purchase is an emotional decision. In the sales process, it's so critical to understand that delayed gratification isn't what's taking place. It's how we operate our business. Sorry, I'm catching back up here on the call because I was muted, but for you guys watching online, um, the sale creates emotion. The sale creates a dopamine release. The sale creates something inside of you. That's why they call it retail therapy. Now, of course, we're not retailing something to somebody. We're selling a product that in many cases is intangible. But how do you make sure that while you're practicing delayed gratification this month, you're not speaking delayed gratification into the sales process itself?
No, I think that's a great point. I think delayed gratification should be exercised with your personal desires. But when we do business, we should always communicate urgency. And if you've been in this business long enough, you've had somebody pass away. And that should be the first thing that pops into your head. Just this year alone, I've had 3 people pass away in the contestability period of their policy. I had one couple, they were getting insurance for their mom. I spoke to the mom, right? Nice lady. She answered the questions, right? We did the back and forth and she got approved. We get the coverage. She passed away 10 days after the policy goes in force. Now, what I did to give them a best chance, right? Because who knows if there's something on her medical record that wasn't disclosed or that a doctor put on there, right? There's all type of other things going on there. But one of the things I can for sure tell you is that I gave them the best chance or possibility of a payout coming because I said, hey, this coverage can go into effect today. Let's go ahead and get the payment done today. You let the customer tell you they can't start today. They can't start today. Okay. The more you give them the option, the more they will opt out. Right. So, oh, yeah, especially this time of year, it's going to be very easy. Everybody's going to default to January. Oh, we can't just start this in January. I've had people in December try to opt for February. I'm like, what are we doing here? You got a raise coming? Like, that's crazy. So, no, we got to get this done ASAP. Um, to take it a step further, I've had people submit the form, just the form, like just, hey, this is the request. Hey, call me in January. Like they follow up immediately with a message. Like when I reach out and they're like, hey, call me in January. And I just kindly explain to them, like, hey, I'm going to get another 30, 40, 50 requests this week. And I'm going to get another 30, 40, 50 next week. By the time January rolls around, I'll have another 150 new requests. I'm not going to be able to reach out. This takes about 10 minutes to get your quote. You'll know if it makes sense for you or not. Right. And then I put the ball back in their court. So when we talk about immediate satisfaction, I think it just comes down to putting the ball back in the client's court. Make them tell you no. Right. And they're generally not going to. And if they consistently tell you no, then they're just not serious about it. And you don't waste that time with somebody who's not serious.
I was thinking and writing some notes down here before we wrap up on time, as I've committed to, as we've decided that it's nice to take what we do and bring it to more people, but not take all day in the
Mm.
process of doing it. When you control the options, you control the outcome. As you said, getting the policy started with the application is controlling the options. The same way that when you walk into the home or you begin that sales interaction over the phone with the mindset that the option is that they're going to get something from you, there is no option where they say no. That happens less and less. I don't think to myself, I've gotten dressed in an outfit I don't wear anywhere else, driven to an area I have no other reason to be there, purchased a lead, set an appointment, and showed up for no. Like, that's not even an option. Like, why else am I in this situation anyway? Also, look about it another way. Delaying a sale or delaying a purchasing experience is the opposite of what people want to do anyway. Like, they live in an instant society where they want things delivered the same day. They've requested information about Medicare or life insurance. And now, when they're saying to you, call me back later, all that's really taking place is they're telling us this, Dom, I believe. Hey, Dom, I love to buy things. In fact, I am online right now requesting to buy more things. And I don't want you to sell me more things because if you try to sell them to me, I'm going to buy them. I think that's actually what they're telling us. And it's a knee jerk reaction because they know they love to buy things. And while they're knee jerk trying to kick you out of the conversation, they know if you just stay with it, they're probably going to purchase. Do you feel like a lot of those knee jerk reactions we just take the wrong way?
I do. If a client is not either kicking you out of their house or hanging up the phone on you, then the opportunity has not closed. Um, Objections are just questions that they need answered, right? There's a trust issue, a credibility issue, or sometimes legitimately a price concern, right? We do talk with folks who are of limited means. Until those things happen, I don't consider the opportunity closed, right? They're just they have most of them have many of them have never done this before. And I tell people just to put yourself in the shoes of somebody who's never done something before. How many questions did you have? Did you know the questions to actually ask? What concerns did you have? I always say if you can put yourself in that person's shoes, then you can be a better provider of services to your client if you can think a little bit like your client.
Well said. Today, part one, delayed gratification, and a little bit of the other side of the table and the phone. Part two, next Monday, dissecting 2025, what worked and what didn't. And then part three, 2 weeks from now, planning for 2026, because you got to plan for it before it freaking starts. Thanks for watching. If you've watched, comment below, share the content, like, dislike, whichever, but engage with what we did because we're taking what has always worked for a decade and bringing it live 3 Mondays of this month. Let's go out there and win this week right now.